Morning, everybody. 8:11 a.m. It's December 18th. Welcome to my channel. We're a week out of Christmas. What a day yesterday. What a day yesterday. That little bull trap looked like the markets were going to push up, and then they just fell apart. All right. Now, the move yesterday, based on internals, the actual market overall wasn't crazy weak. It wasn't. That's why you had a big push down, consolidated, a little push down, consolidated, a push down. It wasn't this all out sell off. Again, because internals were not that weak. Now don't get me wrong. We moved down because the heavy market cap weighted stocks and sectors were weak, but the overall market wasn't weak. But we know market cap moves markets, right? So, but if what my point is, if everything was just bloody red, that thing would have just kept falling and falling like that. Like you noticed on a half-hour chart, like we moved sideways. We had a big move and kind of moved sideways for a while, almost for like let's see, 2.5 hours, and then dumped, moved again for almost 2 hours, and then fell. It was not this boom, 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 boom. So we are in negative gamma. That brings a lot of volatility. Okay. Now currently we closed below the 50-day moving average in futures. We hit the 100-day moving average in the Nasdaq futures and Q futures. Now, that being said, right now we're back at the 50-day moving average in the SPY. And for what? Right in time for CPI. Okay. Now, in my Discord, I said we could go down to 67.70. Well, I missed that by a point, but that's where we landed in the ES, 67.70. Now, I'll really quickly show you my dual market profiles here so I can just show you that what I'm talking about. There's a 67.70 high volume node. There's your overnight lows. Okay. I was live yesterday in my Discord. I kept talking about the 25050s. I said, be careful here. If we find acceptance below it, that's bearish. Look where we are now. We're back above it. Now, that could all change with CPI. But that's pretty key. Okay? That's pretty key. Don't know what's going to happen. Okay? Don't know. So, CPI, 830. So, a lot of these, what I'm talking about now, I don't know. It hasn't been that crucial as of late. Now, there's stuff going on with Venezuela. Yesterday, what I looked into was basically a lot of these AI related data center stocks are using debt to buy NVIDIA chips. And the markets don't like that. That's why Broadcom, AMD, Oracle's getting smoked. They don't like that they're using debt. Okay? That's what I was reading into. That's why tech was very weak yesterday. Okay? Very, very weak. NVIDIA tried to break the 170, couldn't. All right, now we're back at 173s almost. So who knows? Is this the last shot? I don't know for the sellers, right? So far, we have a negative December. We'll have to see. We'll have to see. All right, without further ado, welcome to my channel. My name is Steven Gonzalez. I use market profile and bond profile to find structure of markets along with supply and demand, gamma exposure levels, the most traded price of the year, the month, the week, and the previous day. That is my edge. That is how I look at markets. Okay. Also use Anchor VWAPs, market internals, bookmap, and my weekly expected move indicator that you can get for free on my Discord. Okay, now every morning I do this. Hopefully you join me. Subscribe, set that alert. Give you the market story, the economic news, market news, economic calendar, leaders and laggards, and just why the market's doing what it's doing. Give you technical analysis. And I end the stream usually with NASDAQ and ES futures scenarios. Okay. Now, if you want more in-depth coverage, you're going to join my Discord. That's Confluence Trading. All right, go to my YouTube homepage, click on the link, and sign up. What are you waiting for? Let me be your indicator. I will not steer you wrong. Okay, I will not steer you wrong. Now, yesterday, I had a day of scalping. So I scalped in my personal, scalped in my top step. So good day. Could have been better, but I can't complain. Yesterday was more of a scalp day with those ranges. Okay. Retrospect, there was a point where I probably could have put a little more of a looser stop on the market because I did feel we were going to go lower. In retrospect, I probably could have, the first time we tested that 15-minute 9 EMA here, I'll just show you the SPY chart. So right here, this first test, I probably could have put a stop here because I was very positive that we were going to break these lows. This is the QQQ, sorry. Hold on, right here. Right there. Maybe like a stop up here to break this low, to break this low. Right? I would have just trailed here and tried to take it off near the close. That probably would have been the best play, but there was so much consolidation in the market. Like, that's what I'm saying. Market wasn't super duper weak. So it was like doing this for a while. This is 50-minute bars, candlesticks. Then broke. It just wasn't like, like this part. Boom, boom, boom. It wasn't like that. Okay. Alrighty. Futures. Let's get into it. Alright. Let's look what's moving the needle. Ethereum up 2.62. Bitcoin's up 2.20%. Still at 87K. Okay. NASDAQ futures up 0.83. Crude up 0.59, ES up 0.44, Russell's up 0.35. 30-year bonds are being bought, so yield should go lower. The Dow's up 0.23, dollar is flat. Gold down 0.46. 10-year yield is down 0.5%. Silver down 1.38. The VIX is down 2%. Down 2%. Mag 7 Plus. Let's see. Coinbase, the Bitcoin proxy, is up 2.63%. AMD up 1.62. Tesla up 1.53. That's been on a run, baby. That's been on a run. Proud owner of Tesla. All right. I've heard some news about the robo-taxis. I heard some news that the Waymo actually hit a person. And some other, like Ford, I believe, is stepping away from electric vehicles. So, and this is a robotics company. It's an AI company. So it's not just a car company. Broadcom up 1.26, Nvidia's up 1.12, Google's up 1.02. Who's the laggard today? Just Apple, barely down. Moving on, top sectors. GEV, all right, look at that dip buy, up 4.20%. Unbelievable. Palantir up 1.64. Oracle getting some love. That's been slaughtered. And we're going to go to laggards here today. United Healthcare down 0.73, and the miners down 1.07%. It's granular list today. Let's see. Woo! Donald Trump stock up 25%. My lord. Micron up 13%. Lululemon up 7.1%. Western Digital up 4.26%. Tilray Cannabis up 4%. All right. Laggards. Wow. I don't know what the heck happened there. Service now is down 80%. Is that even? I gotta look into that. Did they get bought out or something? What the heck happened? That's something wrong about that. There's got to be something wrong about that. I don't. Something happened there. I don't know if that's correct. Um, what do we got? Accenture down 2.83. Lennar down 2.34. PayPal down 1.56. PayPal got a downgrade. Oscar Health down 1%. All right. Oop. All right, moving on. Moving on. Let's fix this. All right. Sectors. Who's leading the pack? Semiconductors up 2%. People buying those dips. Micron had pretty good things to say about AI demand. Temporary love into semis. I don't know. Technology's up 1%. Discretionary's up 0.58. Industrials. Everything's positive except energy. So there's a disconnect there, right? Energy sector doesn't always go lock and step with crude because crude's up, but energy's down. Okay? Moving on. Economic calendar. We got CPI today. CPI. All right. CPI. What do we got? What do we got? What do we got? All right. We have. Okay. So core expecting 3. Core expecting 3. Headline 3.1. Okay. We have initial jobless claims, Philly Fed at 8:30 as well. That's really it. Okay. That's really it. So 8:30, we'll come back live, check out to see if this market does anything with this inflation. Okay. We are going to move on to the juice. What's the juice got for us? Let's just refresh real quick. Let's go to risk. All right, here we go. We have an NVIDIA AI conference at 10 a.m. So I would have some kind of squawk box in your ear to hear what's going on there. NVIDIA AI conference. Okay. Let's see here. Governor Bailey, but with every cut, how much further can we become closer? Blah, 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 blah. Right. Redfin reports pending home sales fall 6%, the biggest drop in nearly a year. Okay. Moving on. Let's go to some stock news here. Micron. Stock soared 14% after memory chip maker forecasts a sharp jump in revenue and earnings and all-time high margins for the current quarter, as higher memory prices and demand tied to AI workloads drove record first quarter results. Lululemon stock gained 7.3 after the Wall Street Journal reported that activist investor Elliott has taken more than a $1 billion stake in the athletic wear company. CarMax fell 5.6 after auto retail flag plans lower retail margins. Accenture stock fell 2.1 despite the IT consulting firm beating expectation for first quarter revenue. Okay. Trump Media stock gained 23% after the company announced a merger with privately held fusion energy developer TAE Technologies. All right. Instacart stock slid 6.5 after Reuters reported the grocery delivery company was facing a U.S. Federal Trade Commission probe. Coinbase stock gained 2.3 after the cryptocurrency exchange said it would include traditional stock trading. Interesting. And then PayPal stock fell 1.6 after Morgan Stanley downgraded its stance on the digital payments company to underweight from equal weight, citing slow progress on key strategic imperatives. Sorry, Chief. Sorry, Chief. Rosita was a PayPal. But if I know her, she's like, it will be up to $80 in a week. If I know her, she is always positive. Now, we're going to move on to more stock news. U.S. consumer prices likely post the largest annual increase in 1.5 years in November. Let's see. What's interesting is, if that is the case, oil has been cheap. So that's not great, because if oil is cheap, let's see. Okay. Let's see here. U.S. crypto industry cheers 2025 wins, but party may fizzle next year. After celebrating Donald Trump's second presidential term by swilling cocktails and partying to Snoop Dogg at a pre-inauguration event in January, the crypto industry went on a notch major legislative and regulatory victories this year. Amazon, Walmart shareholders pushes firms to report impact of Trump's immigration policies. Okay. U.S. Fed terminates city notices that demanded bank improve risk controls. All right, let's read a little summary here. U.S. stock index futures edge higher ahead of key inflation report that could shed light on the impact of tariffs on price pressures. While strong forecasts from chipmaker Micron temporarily ease worries about an overvalued tech sector, a Labor Department report is expected to show that consumer prices increased at the fastest pace in 1.5 years in 12 months to November. Investors will also watch for the weekly jobless claims data due later in the day. Okay, let's see here what China and did here. China shares, meanwhile, ended flat as traders rotated in defensive sectors amid concerns over artificial intelligence spending and regional tensions, while tech and property stocks waited on sentiment. Japan's Nikkei closed at a 3-week low, pressured by heavyweight tech stocks as investors assess the outlook for artificial intelligence and data center businesses. All right. Now, oil prices rose slightly as investors evaluate the possibility of further U.S. sanctions on Russia and supply risks stemming from blockade of Venezuelan oil tankers. All right, let's see here. Just going to see if I didn't cover anything. Looks like Eli Lilly, the company, is going to slash prices of popular diabetes and weight loss drugs. Monjaro. Let's see here. All right, looks like Micron got a raised target price to 275 and 200. Wow, I'm pretty sure Micron is like, I'm pretty sure that stock is not even close to that price. All right, folks, that's that. We have 2 minutes till the CPI, so we're gonna do a little internals recap here. My bread and butter here. That's my bread and butter. All right. Now, this yellow line represents the gamma flip point for this month. We are negative gamma in the SPX. That means heavy volatility now. Heavy volatility. You can see bloody red. Infotech down 2.3 from the open. Financials down 0.31. Consumer discretionary down 1.24. Communications down 0.72. This market is not going to go up. Okay? This market is not going to go up. So, you had parity internals. Parity internals. And then just down, 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 down. You can see equal weight was not as weak. That makes sense, right? So, when you see this kind of stuff, now look, the NYSE was only 1.1 ratio. That is not very bearish. And even the S&P 500 had positive advanced decline. That's why the market was not super, super weak. That's why it kind of just moved sideways and moved down. Okay? 20 seconds out. Let's look at this data. Let's see what the CPI does. Here's your hourly charts. Coming out in about 9 seconds. Let's see what kind of movement we get in this market. Boom, there we go. It's a green candle. We're going right up that at a high volume node, right into single prints from yesterday. Now let's look at the data. That's the initial reaction. Don't know what the data is. Let's see. All right, what do we have? Oh, well, my lord. Whoa, I don't think they were expecting this. So, headline number, 3.1 consensus, down to 2.7. All right? So, disinflation happened. That is pretty much a 0.4 lower than expected. That is pretty. Now, like I said, with crude being that cheap, I was like, that's weird. They're expecting it to go up. Well, there you go. Now, the core, expected 3, got a 2.6. Remember, that excludes food and energy. So, this is kind of interesting, right? Because if inflation went down, it's a weird thing, right? Because it could be the Feds can go, okay, inflation's going down. We're not going to aggressively cut. So I don't know what this is going to do. Jobless claims, let's look at those. Consensus 225. We had an actual 224. So kind of in line. Kind of in line. Interesting to see how the market really handles this. Okay? Like I said, I can I can dig into the numbers. Like some people dig into the actual components of the CPI. It doesn't matter. Price is going to tell us what the market thinks. Right now, the market likes it. I would definitely tell you that I forget when the new Fed president is going to happen. I know his term is ending. Okay. So, I mean, if you're a Fed and you see this, you see your cuts are working, you're going to hold the brakes a little probably. But I don't know if it's a Fed appointed more or less in line with Trump. Trump like just wants those rates to cut. Okay. We're right at the high volume node here. Right at that high volume node from the past. Okay. So let me show you another chart that I used to show you guys. Let me just bring it up here. It's my multi-profile chart. So let me change here. I'm just going to show you where we're at long term with volume profiles. Okay. Just want to show you that multis. Okay. All right. So I'm going to bring this lower. This is where I get those levels from. Okay. Now, there's a high volume node, right? This is what I'm talking about. Market's right there. That's where I put that on my chart. Now, below the ES, we have a triple. Remember I talked about this in the past, a triple high volume node. And we were down here below that. And I said, wow. And then this high volume node held the market. And see that pocket of volume again? So this right now held the market again. That's why I said 67.70 could be the hold. Now this is the pocket of volume, which I thought if we lost this, we'd go here. That's exactly what we did. Okay? Let's look at the NASDAQ. Here's your NASDAQ. So on this, give me a sec, this freaking NASDAQ. Hold on. On this particular chart, there's a lot of volume. Okay? All up in here. Look at this bulk of volume. That's a lot of volume. And what I said yesterday was below this level. Look at the pocket, the chasm of volume. This could really dump all the way down to this monthly low. But it held it right now. Okay, now this is a congested area. All right, you do have some single prints here. So I just wanted to show you that, to show you where I get those levels from. Okay. I'm going to close that space now. Give me a second. All right. Now I have to take off a little earlier today because I got to help my wife bring my daughter to school. Okay. Now we just get a little wick here. So let's go back. Maybe today I'll just do an hourly chart analysis. It's a little too early to see what we're going to do. Okay. So let's just do it here. We'll do 1 hour charts. analysis here. Okay, so we got a bunch of levels here. We haven't touched the supply or demand. Okay, you can see there's a kind of like a swing low here, and that high volume node that I talked about. Remember, I talked about this is very important, very, very, very important. Okay, so what do we do? So 68.25. There's a major demand supply zone here as well. Okay, so we take this major supply. We have a downtrend, right? I have an anchor VWAP from this little low. Check that anchor VWAP from this high. That was resistance, and look at that sucker. Woo. This is last week's lows. Okay, single prints from yesterday. We have nice demand right off this high volume node of 67.70 right there. Okay, now this is a demand this is demand unless this market closes. Okay, so let's see here. Is that a 4 hour? Let's see. No, probably a 3 hour. Kinda. Got to go down to a 2 hour maybe. Yeah, it's more of a 2 hour. So if I draw this, and I'll just do it now. 2 hour demand right there. Now that could get blown out of the water, but I'm going to put it on my charts. All right, we go back to the hour. Okay, so there's a demand zone. Okay, so what do I want to see here? All right, now we know we have a swing high here. We know we're in a downtrend. Okay, we know we're hitting a high volume node. You know you're kind of at a pivot point, right? A swing low and the high volume node. It's kind of like a pivot point. Okay, and it kind of in a no man's land. So if this market continues to like this, that's a major supply zone here. Okay, major. So what could happen here? All right, this could be a wild day. And I'm going to look to first see how we react to this high volume node. And we're in single prints right now. Single prints, if they act as resistance, it's bearish. So I'll just tell you right here. If we're going to talk about a bear, right, they're in control. Okay. What I want to see is, let's say we do this, push up into this major supply, right? Maybe we even work it up to that trend line. But then if you fail, put in a lower high, come through this high volume node, you're going to run. Now you have demand here. Okay. Might get a little bounce, push through that demand. This is a lot here. That's a heavy supply. Demand zones. I don't know what we do. But if this tech just keeps running, we could cut right through that. Okay. Now this market's liking this right now. Okay. Really all about this level. Find acceptance above it. See if you can break trend. Okay. See if you can break trend. Okay. Now, bull side. Right. Market's liking this CPI right now. Okay. Almost into that supply. Battling this high volume node. Okay. If, right, this is where you have to do one of these. It's going to be hard, right? Because you got these single prints. So to me, if you fail, hit that supply, maybe we hit that trend line, right? And you come back down to this right here. Maybe you sweep it, make a higher low, right? Work yourself up back to the 60.25. Let's say you break that trend line, hold, higher low. You could try to work off this poor structure here. Okay. There could be a bear trap in here if you just rush down, sweep these lows, recover again, higher low. go here. Okay. All right. So real quick, I'm coming here. Real quick here. I'm gonna look at that Nasdaq. I'll give you some levels really quickly because I got to take off. Okay. Single prints. Look at that. See, that's poor structure. You pretty much, that doesn't count really. You need to do it in real time trading hours, but the structure is there. You clean that up. You're hitting the week to date anchor view up. You got a demand zone here. You're back over to 25050s. Okay. Kind of bottomed out here. Okay. Tech really has poor structure. Really poor structure. This could really run. You have poor structure here. Okay. So you want to clear these out, these single prints. Okay. Really want to get above these 2.5. What is that level? Right. This high volume node here. This week, you could do that. Okay. Even any type of pullback into this level 250, maybe even dip your toe into this demand. You can get long. Okay. In short side, if you fail any single prints, right? Like come in here, hit this, boom, some lower highs. Yeah, you can come down, try to take this level out again. This will be not the easiest, but then if you get rolling and do one of these, yeah, it can go down to the 248s. All right. That's what I'm seeing right now. This could totally change because of this love of the CPI numbers. Okay. All right, everybody. That's going to be it for me today. Smash the like button if you enjoy that. That would be much appreciated. Okay. Now, hopefully, you guys can join me every morning and give me the market story, technical analysis. I gave you the long and short trade scenarios in Nasdaq and ES futures just now. If you want more in-depth coverage, you're going to join my Discord. That's Confluence Trading. Go to YouTube homepage, click on the link, and sign up. What are you waiting for? Let me be your indicator. All right. Now, everybody, if I don't see you in my Discord, I'll see you guys tomorrow morning. Have a great day of trading. The market is catching a bid, folks. They're liking the CPI right now. All right.